In this video, we are going to cover the role of Parliament and its limitations. Its powers and functions can be classified under several heads such as legislative, executive, financial, constituent, judicial, electoral, and other powers and functions of the Parliament. Let's begin with the legislative powers and functions of the Parliament. The primary function of Parliament is to make laws for the governance of the country. It has exclusive powers to make laws on the subject enumerated in the Union List, which at present has 98 subjects. Originally, there were 97 subjects in this list. Apart from this, Parliament has exclusive power to make laws on the residuary subjects as well. These are the subjects which are not enumerated in any of the three lists, that is Union List, State List, and Concurrent List. With regards to concurrent list, which has at present 52 subjects, however, there were originally 47 subjects in this list, Parliament has overriding powers. That is, the law of Parliament prevails over the law of a state legislature in case of conflict between the two. The Constitution also empowers the Parliament to make laws on the subject enumerated in the state list under 5 abnormal circumstances. First such abnormal circumstances is when the Rajya Sabha passes a resolution to that effect. Next is when proclamation of national emergency is in operation. Also, when two or more states makes a joint request to the Parliament, and when it is necessary to give effect to international agreements, treaties, and conventions. Fifth and the last of such abnormal situation is when President's rule is in operation in the state. At present, state list has 59 subjects. However, originally there were 66 subjects in this list. So these were the legislative powers and functions of the Parliament. Now let's look at the executive powers and functions of the Parliament. Basically, executives are collectively responsible to the Parliament for the policies and acts. Hence, the Parliament exercises control over the executive through question hour, 0 hour, half an hour discussion, short duration discussion, calling attention motion, adjournment motion, no confidence motion, censure motion, and other discussions. Apart from this, Parliament also supervises the activities of executives with the help of committees like Committee on Government Assurance, Committee on Subordinate Legislation, Committee on Petitions, etc. And we know that Parliament has two houses, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. Council of Ministers continue in office as long as they enjoy the confidence of majority members in Lok Sabha, which means that if Lok Sabha passes a no confidence motion, Council of Ministers will be removed from the office. Apart from this, there are other ways also through which Lok Sabha can express the lack of confidence in the government. So these were the executive powers and functions of Parliament. Now let's look at the financial powers and functions of Parliament. Basically, Parliament keeps the control over executives in financial matters in two stages. First is the budgetary control and the second is post-budgetary control. Budgetary control is the control before the appropriation of grants through the enactment of budget, whereas the post-budgetary control is the control after the appropriation of grants through three financial committees, that is Public Accounts Committee, Estimates Committee, and Committee on Public Undertakings. So these were the financial powers and functions of the Parliament. Now let's look at the constituent powers and functions. Parliament is vested with the powers to amend the Constitution, and Parliament can amend the Constitution in three ways: by special majority, by simple majority, and by special majority but with the consent of half of the state legislatures. Major part of the Constitution can be amended by the Parliament with a special majority. However, we should remember that the constituent powers of Parliament is not unlimited. Parliament cannot amend the basic features of the Constitution. This was ruled by the Supreme Court in Keshwanand Bharti case 1973 and was reaffirmed in Minerva Mills case 1980. These were the constituent powers and functions of Parliament. Now when it comes to judicial powers and functions of Parliament, Parliament has the power to impeach the President for violation of Constitution. It can also remove Vice President from his or her office. Apart from this, it can recommend the removal of Supreme Court and High Court judges, including Chief Justice of India. It can also recommend the removal of Chief Election Commissioner and Comptroller and Auditor General to the President. Not only this, Parliament can also punish its members or outsiders for the breach of its privilege or its contempt. These were judicial powers and functions of Parliament. Now we will see electoral powers and functions of the Parliament. Basically, Parliament participates in the election of President along with the state legislative assemblies. It also elects vice president. Apart from this, its lower house, that is Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha elects its speaker and deputy speaker as well. And Rajya Sabha elects its deputy chairman. Parliament is also authorized to make laws to regulate the elections to the office of president and vice president, and to both the houses of parliament and to both the houses of state legislature as well. So we have seen electoral powers and functions. Apart from these, Parliament has other powers and functions as well. For example, it approves all the three types of emergencies proclaimed by the President, that is national, state and financial. But parliamentary control over government and administration in India is more theoretical than practical. It has some limitations which we need to discuss along with the factors responsible for it. So let's look at these factors one by one. The very size of parliament is too large and unimaginable to be effective. Another issue is that the legislative leadership lies with the executive and it plays a significant role in formulating policies. Actually, the majority support enjoyed by the executive in the parliament reduces the possibility of effective criticism. On the top of it, frequent promulgations of ordinances by the president also dilutes the parliament's power of legislation. And the growth of delegated legislation has reduced the role of parliament in making detailed laws and has increased the power of bureaucracy. And in financial matters, the financial committees like public accounts committees examines the public expenditure after it has been incurred by the executives, which means they do the postmortem work. So in this video we have covered the role of parliament and its limitations. Thank you for watching this video.